Hi there, team. Okay, so workout's paused, so it's stress. Timer has started, so we'll get going properly. Just under 3 minutes. Let's have a little chat about the workout first. So I'm just going to keep pedaling, but we have to start the workout. Alright. So this session really kind of takes us into the new phase of training. Talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to go into more depth at the beginning about this next phase of training. But just running through the workout. So normal 10-minute build. We then got these sort of staggered fast pedaling efforts where you got 15 seconds. They're both at tempo level, but you're going to be 15 seconds around 90 to 100 RPM, then 15 seconds 100 plus RPM. Okay, so it's going to be like, the emphasis is going to be on the leg speed. Because that's going to be crucial in this session. We then have 5-minute cruising period after those sort of fast pedaling efforts. And then basically the whole rest of the session is one big block, one big interval. So, as the name of the set suggests, we're hitting a sweet spot baseline, so 90% of FTP. And that baseline kind of lasts for about 20 minutes, a little over 20 minutes. And then we're going to be doing little 30-second efforts off that baseline, coming back to it. So a sweet spot the entire time, little anaerobic nudges before another 5-minute cruising period at the very end, just like as a very extended cool down. Okay, so that's the session. That's what we're up to. For now, we've just got about a minute to get started, and then as I say, I'm going to start to talk about this next phase of training. So get yourself ready, and we'll get the workout going very shortly. You can do the workout in erg mode or out of erg mode. Steve's choice today. Okay. Personally, I would do this out of erg mode, or at least if you do it in erg mode, make sure that you keep your leg speed high. I'll talk about that in a second. Just gonna turn the heater off and open a window, which feels like sacrilege, but one of the problems with the heater is it kind of sucks all the air out of the room, so it makes it harder to breathe. But it's nice whilst I'm setting up. Anyway, right, okay. So let's get ready to start the workout. There we go, off we go. So starting the workout, building through zone 2. Move my little timer. We're off then. So yeah, this session is kind of, last week's session was kind of like the transition session. A bit of something you've already been doing, mixed with what we're going to be doing a lot of. Okay. I also just wanted to tie in some kind of key concepts that we've been covering over the last few weeks. So we talked about the energy systems. You know, we talked about aerobic energy production, sub-threshold. We've talked about threshold, the lactate threshold, your aerobic threshold, FTP, whatever you want to call it. That tipping point where you become unable to buffer the build-up of lactate and hydrogen ions. We talked about VO2 max being the upper limit on your aerobic capacity and the maximum volume of oxygen you can utilize. We did a whole session on VO2, if you remember. We talked about the lactic acid system, which is good for sort of up to about 2 minutes of full gas effort. I've also talked about the phosphocreatine system, your explosive system, good for up to 30 seconds. You know, with testing, we talked about critical power, your maximum sustainable power, good for about 30 minutes. Talks about W prime, which is kind of like your anaerobic capacity, but not. You know, it's your anaerobic fuel tank, kind of basically how good you are at sprinting or anaerobic efforts, but also importantly how good you are also repeating efforts. So it's not just like how high you can go, but it's how big that tank is underneath. So there's a bit of a nuance there. Yeah, we talked about anaerobic capacity itself. We talked about aerobic capacity. We talked about aerobic fitness. So all of these concepts we've worked through the last few weeks. And if any of them are just like, what? Then I would have a look at previous weeks' chats. I always try and cover it in the first 15 minutes. But yeah, have a little look-see if any of that is kind of new to you. So yeah, we're now moving into a new phase. And I want to explain how those concepts apply and how they fit within this change of focus. Because, yeah, I've had a couple of conversations recently, justifiably, where people were just sort of, perhaps lacking motivation or clarity, and so I just thought, yeah, let's run through it all together. So up until now, we've been over the last couple of months, over the deep dark winter, we've primarily been working on your top end, your phosphocreatine system, your lactic acid system, and kind of shorter VO2 efforts, that sprint power, that anaerobic capacity, okay, that lung capacity. That's what we've been working on. And your aerobic capacity and your aerobic fitness have not been as important, because you just can't maintain it at this time of year. That high volume training over winter, I've done it in the past, training for things, and it's bloody miserable. I remember doing Tour of Flanders, just a sportive, of course, not that you'd make the mistake of thinking I was doing the actual Tour of Flanders, but yeah, that's beginning of April. So I remember me and a mate doing big mileage through the winter, and it was horrific. And then the event itself was horrific as well. But anyway, won't go on to that one. Great event, but first, sort of 100K is just pointless, going through light industrial estates. So yeah, that stuff, it was so hard to maintain, or improve over the winter. So we've dropped the volume, and we've dropped the emphasis on aerobic fitness to accommodate making anaerobic gains. You turn the tap down on one, it allows you to turn the tap up elsewhere and allows your body capacity to adapt to your stimulus. So now though, we are shifting the emphasis to get you ready for racing, for events. So what we're going to do, pretty much starting from this week, we're going to begin to increase the volume steadily. So that means weekend rides will be much more important, and they'll start to increase in length, but also depending on who you are and what your capacity is, so midweek rides, midweek sessions might also get longer. Okay, so there is some logistical and administrative work there, maybe. Also, alongside the increase in focus on aerobic fitness, we're going to be working on what's called fatigue resistance. And that's through sessions like tonight, where we sustain a high baseline. In this session, it's sweet spot, 90% of FTP. And then we perform efforts off that baseline, just like you would in a race, basically. So it's that repeatability. It's that suboptimal recovery and go again sort of thing. So then, that's what we're all working on from now up until sort of April. But then individually, each of you will start to see kind of your own specific emphases. So the triathletes, you would have, almost all of you will have had the introduction to brick sessions, your bike to run sessions, and eventually also you'll start to see some sort of time trials type efforts like longer steady state efforts, tempo, VO2, maybe a bit of threshold work as well. Cyclists, as a broad stroke, because we've got a real spectrum of cyclists, we'll be introducing hill work, potentially virtually to begin with, depending on where you are in the world. The cyclists will also be working extensively on repeatability. So that's not just this type of session, but that's repeated anaerobic sets, repeated VO2 sets with kind of not quite enough recovery in them. Also an element of sweet spot work as well, just to kind of tease that aerobic capacity up. And then time trialists, you'll be doing more and more steady state efforts like the triathletes, longer VO2 efforts, sweet spot work. But the difference is there's a lot of crossover there between kind of like our three main cycling related athletes. A lot of crossover there, but it's just the emphasis that's put on each detail. So triathletes, obviously brick sessions, time trial efforts. The cyclists obviously aren't going to do brick sessions, but the pure cyclists, the pure racers, they'll still be doing some sort of steady state work. It's just how much time is spent on it, the emphasis, how much time in a session is spent on it, etc. Whether it's a key session or not. So yeah, great emphasis on individualization. It doesn't mean up until now you've all been doing the same plan, because you haven't. But there have been has been quite a lot of similarity in training plan profiles between sort of November to now. But yeah, that kind of changes from this week. On the strength training front, that might also change for you. So many of you are already in a maximum strength phase, looking to build inherent strength and muscle mass. And depending on your circumstances, that might change in the next few weeks to shift to either a power phase, explosive phase, or straight into a strength maintenance phase, where we look to kind of just control your strength training. Maybe you've got an early season race or event, and so the power work isn't ideal right now. And it depends on when your season starts and the type of event you're doing as well. Okay, and then March or April time, the weather improves enough, the score sessions will be put on pause, and we'll kind of all go our separate ways, so to speak. Just about to start the first fast pedaling effort. So it's 15 seconds at around 8% of FTP. Want your cadence around 90 to 100 RPM. And then in 3, 2, 1, up the cadence. Keep the power roughly the same if you can. So you might have to drop into an easier gear. Don't worry about it too much. Over 100 RPM. 3, 2, 1, and relax. So, I've largely covered everything I wanted to say, but yeah, as it's finishing off March or April time, when the weather improves, these score sessions will pause, and then yeah, we'll go. Every single session will be tailored to what you're working on. I leave flexibility and be a bit vague about when these sessions stop, because I remember last year in March we had insane weather and nobody was interested in doing turbo sessions. So yeah, the end date on these sessions will be a little bit loose, and we'll just see through March. They'll finish for sure beginning of April. And just an FYI, 1, maybe 2 months of these sessions left. Okay, next fast pedaling. So still tempo, 6 out of 10 effort, 80% of FTP, cadence sort of 90 to 100 RPM, and in 5 seconds, we're just increasing that tempo. Okay, lift the leg speed. Try and keep the upper body soft so you don't bounce. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. we've gone from heater on now to fan on. It's funny how that changes. Right, we just got one more set of those fast pedaling efforts, and then we've got a cruising period. So as this session is very much backloaded, keep the fluids coming on board, because it will be difficult in that sweet spot / anaerobic kind of block for like 20 odd minutes long. You'll be able to take little sits, but yeah, it's going to be hard to properly hydrate in that, just like in a race. So nice and relaxed. Okay, lift the leg speed up to 90, 80% of FTP again. Okay, let's get well above 100 RPM now. Last few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And relax. So in total, we've actually got 6 minutes of cruising now. So just enough time, just talk a little bit about how this session in particular will help everyone. But if you're doing the main set with erg mode off, turn it off now. But you can do the whole session with it on if you want. On one condition, your cadence on the sweet spot efforts has to remain above 80 RPM throughout. Okay, so we're going to hit sweet spot, we're going to accelerate, come back down to sweet spot. So after the first few, that cadence starts to slow and slow and slow, and you really start to struggle with erg mode on, turn it off. This is not a session where there's any benefit to grinding it out sort of 70 RPM, refusing to turn erg mode off. It's really fun. I said a couple of weeks ago, I think, I said how GCN put out a video about erg mode and how, you know, their minds have changed on how useful it is, even though they were the greatest proponents of it when sort of Zwift brought it in and Wahoo brought it in. Anyway, yeah, I've seen more and more influencers talking about it now. It's so funny. I've seen 2 videos since that one, obviously kind of jumping on the GCN bandwagon. Yeah, so erg mode on and off, entirely up to you, but don't be kind of wedded to it, because this isn't a session to grind through. This is all about kind of reflecting race intensity, race efforts, okay? So yeah, that's what this session is about. Fatigue resistance, you know, we don't expect the anaerobic efforts to be peak efforts. We expect you to go for it. I expect you to not really think about the anaerobic stuff. Just kind of imagine you're chasing a wheel or something, you're staring straight ahead and you're just kind of going for it, okay? But likewise, we're not expecting you to put in any 5 or 20 second max power efforts. Just go and feel. What we would kind of like to see, without you thinking too much about it, those anaerobic sets being quite consistent, particularly after the first 3, I would say. First 3, there's a bit of ego involved, and you give it some beans. After that, you know, the largely the sort of phosphocreatine system will be stripped away, so you'll be relying on your lactic acid system largely. And yeah, we want to see those efforts kind of consistent. But put it another way, what we don't want to see is a complete dive bomb after sort of 3rd or 4th set. So the way this is going to work is in about just over 2.5 minutes time, we will hit off with the first 30-second effort. No, sorry, forgive me. No, sorry, we'll start off building up to sweet spot for 2.5 minutes. Then every 2.5 minutes you're going to be hit with a 30-second acceleration. As I say, you don't think about it too much. Just got to keep going basically. This isn't a session where we're too strict on power targets. Okay, just got to do your best. You find the urge to say more about GCN. I do like GCN, but I find them so hypocritical. Like, you know, every week they're looking at the latest aero super bike, and then every now and then they'll do a video about, oh, has cycling gotten too expensive? Oh, you know, can I build a bike for less than £1,000? All this sort of stuff. And they're good videos, but I just find it so like hypocritical. Like, they are the ones outside of the manufacturers. Like, GCN is the primary sort of retail show, isn't it, basically? Kind of like Top Gear was for motoring. And so they drive they have a big influence on market dynamics. So I find it really frustrating that they're so unself-aware. And particularly through COVID, I found it quite galling. You know, everyone was really struggling, and now everyone is struggling probably to a similar amount to times in COVID. Talking about 12-gram super bikes. You know, it's interesting about 30 seconds, and I just find myself sort of, I'm just resisting the urge to rant, but I had 2.5 minutes to fill, so that's why you got it. Anyway, right, so we've got about 35 seconds to kick off. Got into it a little bit this first kind of effort. You know, it's just about opening the legs up a little bit. You got plenty of time, that sweet spot. So yeah, just fold your legs in this first 2.5 minutes, and after that we're locked in. Yeah, so particularly if you're doing it without erg mode, it's going to take you a short while to build up to power and get the right cadence. But here we go. So we're looking for around 90% of FTP, but we also want your cadence nice and high. So I fear for me, no, I think it should be okay. Quite often in this type of work, because of the gearing on my bike, as it is, I often get stuck between gears. I think it should be okay. You know, I often have the choice between hitting the power exactly at low cadence or spinning out basically, but I think that could be okay. But yeah, well, sweet spot. Should feel like a 7 out of 10 effort. Heart rate, at least in this initial one, should be sub-threshold. You might find that you struggle to stay sub-threshold because of those anaerobic efforts. That's it, just do your best. Okay, 1.5 minutes, and you get first acceleration. And we've got 8 rounds. So nice and relaxed, shoulders down, chin up. And that's a really key one. Try and remember. So when you come back down from the anaerobic effort, so all those little things, those little efficiencies, that will pay off, hopefully, towards the end of the session. Okay, 45, then we accelerate. So you start imagining the scenario in your head. Maybe it's like a little rise, or you're accelerating out a corner, chasing a wheel, whatever it is. Imagine it, because it does help to think about that sort of thing, I promise you. Particularly towards the end of the session. $15, and then we kick. Ready? Shift down, let's go, come on. Don't think, just go. Twenty. 10. 3, 2, 1. Okay, shift up. Get the legs turning. Straight back to sweet spot. Keep the cadence up, well above 80. Stay patient. Should get your breath back eventually. Heart rate should come down a bit eventually. Nice seconds. Guys, maintain power, maintain cadence, try and relax, shoulders down, chin up. 1 minute, go again. So lift my cadence a bit. 30 seconds. Then we go again. Don't worry if you find it hard. Things will stabilise. Just do your best. Okay, 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Twenty. 10. 3, 2, 1. Shift up, keep the cadence high, and recover on the move. Well done, guys. That's 2 down. Sorry, bear with me 1 second, guys. My door's about to fly away. Sorry, apologies for that. It's very windy here. My door just about to fly open. Okay, so 1.5 minutes. So if you can imagine a scenario now, in a crit or a road race, whatever it is, this sort of stuff is all about making sure you're not the first to crack, or put another way, making sure you're the last man. What would? 1 minute. stress too much about fluctuation. It's more about kind of a state of mind and an intensity. Your power will fluctuate, particularly as you drop down from anaerobic. There might be sort of 20 seconds where you just have to get your breath back. Don't worry, just do your absolute best. This is not a data-driven session. 20 seconds. 10. Ready to go. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Plenty. 10. 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin up. Back to power. Three down. One more, and then we'll be halfway. Well done, guys. Seconds. This is a hard one to talk through. Okay, 1 more minute. So remember, you'll find this hard. This is our first session doing this stuff. It will get easier. It'll become a sadistic pain. More importantly, others will melt before you and crack, and you'll be able to keep going. 30 seconds. Looks like I've got someone sitting on my wheel. Anyway, 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Off we go. Let's drop this guy. $20. 10. 5. 3, 2, 1. Okay, spin up. Keep breath. Power back on. Got that one. We're halfway. Just 4 more efforts. So actually, what was happening for me there was a good example of a scenario. I had some German chopper sitting on my wheel, quick 30-second effort, and it's gone. That's what we want to achieve in the race. Although it looks like he's trying to come back now. Volta. That's a cool name to kind of hope he does come back on. Anyway. But you can see there as well, my mind drifted. My average power for this interval is 220. Which is not right. That's why you need to stay focused. Yeah, that cadence nice and high, remember? Well above 80. 30 seconds. And then we're starting to work our way down the slope, so to speak, in terms of the number of intervals there. 20. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Nice high leg speed. 20. 10. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, spin up, get your breath, and then power back on. Be strict. Just rebuild. You don't need to be straight back on target, but you need to start working. It's tough. That's what the session's about. Well done, guys. Just 3 more to go. Not far now. So set yourself a little target. By now, you should have a gauge of what those anaerobic habits are like. So for me, I'm trying to make myself stay above 400 watts. It's my target. On the anaerobic set, not now. Now my goal is stay between 260 and 290 watts. Okay. 1 minute. Just 3 efforts left, guys. We can do this. Thirty seconds. Race kick in 10.
Down, down, down.
Ready? Here we go, come on.
Down, down, yeah. Down, down, and down,
20.
This shit hot.
10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin up. Power on. Rebuild. What you'll see me doing sometimes is getting out the saddle, like I just did then, and it's just try and redistribute blood. You'll see, people used to watch cycling back in the day, the likes of Alberta Constor used to do it quite a lot. Out the saddle, swaying side to side,
Yo.
just to switch up where the blood is in your quads and hamstrings. Oh, I need to get my power right up.
This shit hot.
2 more efforts, guys. So what I'll do is I'll shift into a heavier gear and then just sort of dance on the pedals, switch up into easy gear, sit down. It's just a small thing to provide a little bit of relief when you're trying to recover at such a horrible level. Little over a minute. Get into the penultimate rep. So stay strong, guys. Just one more after this one. Yeah. 30 seconds. Ten seconds, get ready. 5, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Twenty. 10. 5, 3, 2, 1. Spin up. And be strict. Now back on. Come on, it's the last rep. Well done, guys. 2 minutes, one more effort, then we can relax. Okay, focus. Shoulders down, chin up. 90 seconds. Then we go for the last time. Last minute approaching. 60 seconds and we're done. Come on. Okay, last 30 of the sweet spot effort. Ten seconds, get ready to go for the final time. Four, three, two, one, here we go, come on. Big last effort. Twenty. All the way to the end. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, and relax. Oh man, spin up. Get your breath back. So we're about half an hour. Just get your cadence back above 80. And once you've got your breath back, got your composure back, then because we've got such a long cool down, I'm going to get you to come back up to about 65% of FTP. So take a moment, recompose yourself, resettle yourself, bring yourself back up to that. There is a purpose for it, I'm not just being a dick. You know, we really trying to instill this recovery on the move, and also kind of like the mental strength of forcing yourself back up to a normal level. Because even say like this was 20 minutes at the beginning of a crit or a road race, you know, it does eventually calm down and then you can hide in the group, but it's never, you know, a lovely 40% of FTP. It's always kind of, you know, top end of zone 2 at the very best. You know, more realistically it's going to be like a tempo level, you know, like 80% of FTP. So yeah, in any kind of race, the recovery is always hard to come by. It's always at a level you don't really like. You start to get the fluids back on board though. If you now understand what I was saying about making sure you take the fluids on board, ideally before the session, but also at the start of the session, because the work is so backloaded and there's not really any time to properly rest. So we've just got about 2.5 minutes and then we'll drop into proper recovery. Now, just try and hold power about 60-65% of FTP. Cruising long distance ride power. Well done, guys. That is a tough session, and that's particularly tough because it's our first one like that. There will be plenty. Don't be put off by that. It gets easier, and as I say, it does eventually turn into a bit of sadistic power, particularly when you start to drop people that you know. So if you're doing e-racing at the moment, virtual racing, hopefully you'll start to see an improvement there. Maybe on group rides or whatever, hopefully you'll start to see the benefit there. Although for our Guernsey guys who are largely all race for the same race team, kind of mixed feelings there. Hopefully you're all just feeling you'll feel mega strong and just be like rocking a hard place. Rocky and Apollo trading blows, but everybody wins. It's last minute and 20, and it'll ease off completely. And I'll just do a quick little recap. I know right now, like me, you're probably still just kind of getting on top of the gear. resting to keep the cadence high. So stay on it for 1 more minute. Keep the cadence nice and high. 45 seconds, then we're done. Sorry about the sniffing. Got a bit snotty in the middle of that. Alright, last 30. Twenty seconds, stay on message. Last 5 seconds. There you go, and now relax. Just into a nice easy gear. Just continue spinning up. Just watch the heart rate come down. Back down below 100 beats a minute. I'll just do a quick little recap of what we talked about. I started off by just kind of signposting the stuff we covered over the last few weeks. These key concepts, these energy systems, you know, things like critical power, W prime, anaerobic, aerobic fitness, etc., etc., so that you can see how that stuff impacts this next phase. Because we're moving from top end, anaerobic, short stuff, short VO2 stuff, to more about fatigue resistance, repeatability, and then that base fitness, that aerobic fitness. So that means sessions like this, working off a high baseline. Also, depending on your focus, for triathletes, brick sessions and time trialing type efforts, our pure cyclists, our racers, introduction of hill work, initially virtually, and then once it dries out a little bit, we'll get you outside, try and hit Strava segments and working on repeatability. And then, you know, gravel riders, you guys were doing plenty of sweet spot work. Our time trialists, likewise, lots of sweet spot work, lots of long steady efforts, long steady state efforts, so longer VO2 max work, threshold work, you know, all the, in my opinion, horrible stuff. Your strength training will probably change. Maybe from a max strength phase into power work, if there's the time available, or, you know, if you're starting your season very early, perhaps some straight into the strength maintenance stuff, so that you have extra capacity for your cardiovascular training. And then sort of March, April time, when the weather improves enough and everyone moves outside and doesn't want to listen to me anymore, or likely you've probably already reached that point, you know, we'll call it a day on the squad sessions. But yeah, we'll play that one by ear. So as I say, last time, I think it was mid-March, nobody was interested, and we were doing the live sessions, and like 2 people, if that, were turning up. Sometimes we had to cancel sessions because just nobody was interested. They wanted to be outside, which is totally legit. Yeah, so just a heads up on that one. Yeah, just the last few seconds. Really well done, guys. That's a tough session. If you found that really, really hard, do not panic. It will come to you. It is a very particular type of training that we haven't done for several months. So yeah, don't panic. It will get easier. And what you'll find is that when you get good at this stuff, the confidence it breeds is fantastic, particularly going into that early race season. Anyway, that's enough from me. Well done, guys. I will see you next week. Take care.